This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, I'll call to order the meeting of the Inland Wetland and Watercourse Commission of the town of Willington on this Monday night, May 19th, 2025 at 7:33 p.m. Present from the commission are Mark Trobney, Evan Cartabiano, and David Jordan. To join us later are Ralph Toulis, and absent is Patrick Lord, I'm sorry. And there are no alternates to be seated. Okay, the first item on the agenda is applications to be received. We have two applications this evening, and I noticed that we have representatives of both of them. I'm assuming Ben Hipsky is representing Michelle Hipsky on the garage replacement, and that Stanley is representing dealing with the second issue, which is water crossings on a driveway. That sound right, Mike?
Yeah, but I've told them that tonight is just for receipt, so they understand that these are for a subsequent meeting.
Okay, that sounds great. All right, let's take up the first one, which is IW 25-8, an application to construct replacement garage within the Uplands Review Area at 136 Turnpike Road, MBL 045-022-00, and the applicant is Michelle Hipsky, represented by Ben Hipsky, I believe. Any comments from the commission, or would you like to hear comments from Mr. Hipsky?
I don't have any comments at this point.
Okay, fine. Then we're receiving that application. I assume we will work with it next meeting in June. A question on this would be whether or not we want to do a sidewalk. I have a feeling on the second one we will be, by the way, and they're both in the same neighborhood. So.
I guess if it's a straight up replacement of an existing structure, that one probably would not need a sidewalk, in my opinion. But
that's fine by me. Mike, any suggestions?
Yeah, I agree with Evan.
Okay, all right. We will just deal with that then at our next meeting. And it looks like that will probably be the first item on the agenda, just so if you, Ben, if you want to take that into consideration. Okay, the second application is IW 25-9, application for installation of driveway with two wetland crossings at 14 Balaz Road, MBL 044-17-00, and the applicant is Stanley Woronskowitz. I don't know if I got that right, Stanley. Yeah. This one does have a couple of wetland crossings. Mike, do you want to bring us up to date on the previous approval and whether you see any significant changes?
Yeah, so this is the applicant is in the process of acquiring both parcels, and prior to acquisition of the lots, wants to essentially affirm that the plan that was previously approved by the commission in 2008 is still acceptable. He does not intend to go so far as to do everything on the previously approved plan, which showed the access, the house, all that at this point. But he wants to make sure that if he's going to purchase the properties, that he will be able to at least construct the access. And I believe that he intends to conduct some agricultural type activities on the lot that does not contain the proposed house. So the 2008 approvals were included, and actually the previous owner, had they gone and requested all the extensions that were possible and kept the 2008 approval alive, it's possible they would have fallen under the extensions granted during COVID and this permit wouldn't be necessary, but that was not the case. And I did get earlier today from the property owner authorization, basically acknowledging that he understands that the applicant is submitting this request and seeking to use essentially the same plans. I don't know, with the application information that we have at this point, I haven't gone back to look. It's not always, I'd have to look at the minutes if the commission held a site walk at the time. But there are the plans that are in front of you are the same plans that were approved in 2008 and are have not been modified.
Okay. Any comments, Mark or Evan?
I don't really have any particular comments on this one. If it was approved before, I'm inclined to forego the site walk. However, I'm not terribly familiar with the spot or anything, although I did look at satellite imagery of it. So,
yeah, I think once we see the plans, we can determine whether we need a site walk or not. Give us a little bit more clarification.
Okay.
I can pull up the site plan if you want.
Sure, that'd be great.
Thank you, Michael.
And so again, we'll hear more from the applicant next month, but I think really the intent is, because of the way that these lots were configured and the way that the subdivision was approved, the physical access for the properties are through sort of a common drive or some other easement. It doesn't necessarily come through where the lot touches the road itself. And so I think this really comes down to the prospective property owner wanting to make sure that they'll be able to access the property if they purchase it. Just see. So, I mean, you can kind of see here, there's quite a long driveway access that comes in. And this was all part of the, I think it was either, I don't know, it was Fenton Woodlands, Fenton Bluffs. I can't remember what it was referred to as. It was in a previously approved subdivision.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just see if there's yeah.
Has the property been improved at all at this point in time, or is
No. Nope.
no? It's native.
Yes.
Okay, because there's fairly significant excavation for the driveway coming through, it looked like. And then the two water crossings or wetland crossings coming in where the house is proposed. And then I'm assuming the access to lot 7, which it looks like there's access off another drive on lot 7. And then this alternative driveway coming back into lot 8. That was confusing to me.
Yeah, so I think, while we don't necessarily dialogue with the applicant, one of the things that I think we can ask, if he's here, because I think it would be maybe helpful in you figuring out how to kind of go forward. If the request is to simply essentially seek approval to re-up the plan as approved in 2008 with no alternatives and modifications, and it will be constructed without any deviations. Maybe that's one option. If there are potential changes or things that he may want to modify or not construct, obviously aside from the house and that type of thing, maybe that may impact your decision to feel like you need to visit the site. So I think with that sort of limited scope. I think the applicant could certainly clarify that if you think that might be helpful in determining how to proceed.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I was having a microphone issue before. So my concern here is only for lot 8. As mentioned before, for lot 7, there is a private driveway that allows access to where that home is up at the top right. I plan to put together a plan for that later. My only concern is lot 8, where, as you can see here, there's a very skinny area from the private driveway that would require a large access across the Fenton Brook, and a lot of wetlands. And I don't think that this is feasible. So the only other feasible way of getting to lot 8 would be with that proposed driveway. And my intention is to keep it as simple and as ecologically sound as possible, because my purpose for this lot is agriculture. I want to put together an orchard for farming, so some trees, and as well as doing some conservation work there as well. So this is really just my intention here is just to make sure that I can obtain access to the property.
Okay, so approval as is would be appropriate.
I think the original application also included the building site and the house. As I mentioned to Mike, I don't really have a desire for that. I'm just kind of looking for whatever the easiest and the best way for you to look at this. So my interest is the driveway, but the original application included both.
I would assume that our specific interest would have to do with the 2 wetland crossings that are on the access driveway, which are shown as riprap crossings. So I assume, Mike, that that's what we would be looking at as a basis for our decision.
Right. And if I go back to there was, let me just look to see to confirm, maybe not. Yeah, so the commission could look at that essentially now, creating access to, approval to allow the property owner to install the driveway per the proposed plans to provide access to lot 8 for the purposes of, essentially access and, agriculture. And then, down the road, he could come back with his plans for the house or for something related to lot 7. So yeah, right now, the only thing we'd be looking at is just the crossings, but really that, that arc at the top is entirely within some form of regulated area for the most part, because if you look at the way those flags are, so it's really that swath in the upper part of the lot that you'd be looking at.
Okay.
And to the applicant's point, there was an alternative shown in 2008 where it came from another location, which required, I think, a more substantial crossing. So he's, I think, looking for the commission to acknowledge that this is the most feasible way to access the property.
Yeah. And that we can take care of in terms of the motion we propose next month.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Other commission members, what's your feeling with respect to doing a sidewalk on this one?
I would like to.
Okay, I agree with you. So since we were not involved before, actually it'd probably be quite informative for us just to understand this kind of situation. Okay, Mike, is it reasonable to have a site walk on the same day as our June meeting?
Yeah, so I think, if the same approximate time, I think we did it like at 5:30 or something.
Yeah, that seems to work. Yeah.
Okay, so if that will work, I'll send an email out to everybody tomorrow to confirm so that we can hear from Ralph and Patrick. And then assuming that's the case, we can do a special agenda for the, prior to the June meeting.
That sounds great.
All right.
Okay, okay with everybody?
It'll be fun.
Yes. Before we move ahead, hey, Mike, on 25-8, the replacement of the garage, is that garage the same footprint or are they expanding it?
It's about double the size.
It's in,
Oh,
yeah,
it
it's-
is.
let me
Yeah.
see.
Sorry, I meant
20
to ask that earlier.
22 by 30 is the proposed.
Which was about 660 square feet.
Oh, it's showing the existing layout. That's what that shows. Let me go back and look at the,
There's another diagram that shows the other dimensions.
let's try this one. Nope, stuck X. So yeah, it looks like it's 20, call it 23 by 30 is what is there. And they want to go 28 by 48. The 23 going to 28 dimension is the dimension that's the dimension that I think is
In the upland review area?
yeah, so they're proposing, they're saying the existing is 31 feet to the edge of the wetland, and they're proposing to go to 25 feet, so additional 6.
Okay. All right.
And
All
the
right,
total
thank you.
square footage is, I think, something like 1,400 square feet. So it is a bit more than double the size.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just verify this one last piece here. Construction. Yeah, so if you read the, yeah, there's a letter in the application materials that says the existing structure is like 75 years old. And so they're looking to remove and replace. They have a delineation that was done, that they sketched based on a Gardner and Peterson site plan.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I didn't receive any of that information. Is there a way that I could pick that up at the office?
yeah, if you want
Is it
paper
anything
copies,
possible?
we can get you a paper copy.
Yeah.
If you want PDFs, you can click on, you can get all that from the agenda.
Oh, all right. I'm sorry.
No, you're
Thank
good.
you.
Right on the agenda, the green links, if you click on that,
Yep.
it'll bring you to the application and you'll see all the files. But if you want a hard copy, just let us know.
All right. Great. Thank you.
So in that respect, it still meets regulations in terms of separation from wetlands.
I can print out hard copy 11 by 17s and have them in the office too. It's easier to read.
Ah, neat.
That would be nice. Thank you.
Just call over, shoot me an email, and I can have them ready before you get down there.
Okay. Will do.
Okay, are we all set with applications?
Yes.
Okay, next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of April 28th, 2025. I looked them over, but Mike, you might want to bring them up so people can scan them.
I'm all set when everyone else is.
Okay. And I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, I'll do the minute, the motion then. That's sneaky language to get one of you to do the motion. Okay, I move the approval of the minutes of April 28th, 2025, and we have a second. Any discussion?
I'm all set.
Okay, all those who approve, raise your right hand. Mark, I saw your
I'm
red.
raising my right hand.
Okay, great. Thank you. My minutes are approved. Okay, no need for a public hearing today. So then we get to the new business of the day, and that's the approval. That's IW 25-7, which we received the application last month and now are in a position to act on it. The application is to construct a 16-foot by 24-foot dock at 74 Willington Hill Road, MBL 18-037-00, and the applicant is Chris Hughes. And that's Chris, right?
It is.
Yeah, it's good. Good to see you.
Thanks.
Okay, we had a chance to look at it last month. And I think there was a comment made that it would be nice if we had a sense of how the dock was going to be built, kind of what the process is going to be.
Sure.
And so if you could lead us through that a little bit, that'd be great.
Yeah, so I have two builders that are looking to give me quotes. One gave me a quote today. He's waiting for his lumber yard to let him know the cost of a couple of pieces, a couple of beams. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to either use Goliath Tech posts, and if I can share my screen, I can show you, walk you through kind of the vendors that we're going to use. I'm going to use either 6, 8, or 10 Technopost. There's one company called Technopost that drives these things into the ground and holds up foundations, holds up decks or docks. And there's another company called Goliath Tech that does the same thing. They're heliopiers, right? There was another dock approved about 6 years ago in 2019 or 2020 that was on Bessinet Pond. And I contacted the prior owner there. He gave me the number of Goliath Tech. Goliath Tech's given me a quote for theirs, but Technopost is who the two builders that I'm talking to now. One's Michael Johansson. He's with JE Builders on Old South Willington Hill Road. He should get back to me this week. He would use Technoposts. And Nick Martell out of Tolland, he would use Technopost as well, but I'm still waiting on a quote from Goliath Post. They're about $500 per pier, right? So if I'm using 10 of them, that's $5,000 as an initial cost. That will serve as a foundation of it. And then they're going to use pressure treated beams to put across the post and build a deck on top of that. Let me just share my screen. Let me see if I can do that from here.
Yeah, right in the bottom, you should see a button there. This.
I see it. All right. Can you guys see my screen here?
Coming up.
There we go.
All right. So this is the picture of the dock. So I'm going to have a small walkway here, either 4 feet wide or 6 feet wide, and it goes out into the water. You know, it's probably like 3 feet on the land right here. It's a pretty good slope, and I want it pretty close to the water. So you just walk out there, and then once it's getting all the way out in the water, I mean, this might not be that far. This might only be 6 feet, but from where the land ends and the dock starts, I'm not exactly sure, but 6 or 8 feet is how far the walkway is going to come out into the water. And then I'll have a 16 by 24 rectangle dock built. There'll be 10 of those, 8 or 10 of those Technopost, two at each here, 2 here, 2 here, and 2 or 4 in the middle. The deck will be cantilevered over about a foot, maybe 1.5 feet around the edges, so you don't see the posts.
Mhm.
And then you'll have, some kind of nice, nice, nice edging that goes into the water a little bit, so you don't really see the post at all. It looks nice, even if the water goes up and down a little bit. Last year, our pond dropped like, I don't know, about 3 feet. And I'm not sure how good that would have looked with the posts in there. And the property itself, this is a blown up. So this is the existing dock that's in there, and this T right here is a floating dock. Both of the parts of the T, that's two parts. Both of them are failing and taking in water. And right now there's 4 stainless steel posts in the water, kind of holding it in place so it doesn't really move, but they bend as well. Now that these things are failing and taking on water, they're bending. So I'm going to have that all removed, and I'm just trying to replace it, but I think I want to replace it with a fixed dock rather than another floating dock. This part right here isn't floating at the very beginning, so that's where the walkway onto it, I'm just going to replace it. This is old and rotting. Underneath it, there's a bunch of probably 3-inch stones, so it's really shallow right here. Once I get out into the water just a little bit, so this is where the walkway is going to go. Once I get out in the water a little bit, then I'm going to put the 16-foot, 16 by 24-foot deck right here, either on the left side or maybe on the right side. I'm not 100% sure yet, but it's going to go like right here. It's not going to matter which way I put it. It's going to go the same distance in the water. Just, I don't know if I want to look at it right from the house or not. I'm going to use Trex decking and pressure treated wood for the dock, and I think the foundation is the thing that you would worry about, because I'm putting 6, 8, or 10 of those helio posts into the water for the foundation. Nick Martell said he would use 10. I'm still waiting to hear in writing from Michael Johansson. He was thinking 6 or 8, but it's going to be 6, 8, or 10. And there's a machine that comes out. It has a big arm and it drills them right in there. They did it at the Bissett Lake. I talked to Mike Mako, who submitted a whole plan for it. And he's like, you probably don't need to submit a whole plan because you're not doing any, there's no construction going on the side other than these posts going in the water.
Does this require a building permit?
I'm not sure. What's the total dimension again?
16 by 24.
So I don't know. It's over 200 square feet, but it's in the water. I'm not sure that one would be required. I'd have to go back to look to see if we did one for the one that was on Bissonnet Pond.
The one on Bissonnet Pond was bigger and had a structure on top of it. I'm not going to put anything on this.
Yeah. No, the reason I ask is basically whether or not there are any building regulations that come to play in putting this, and the person that would have to inspect that would be the building inspector. Not our business, but it's just something, a thought came to mind. The other thought that comes to mind, and you've suggested the width of the access to be either 4 or 6 feet. You might want to consider the 6 feet if you have any intention of having it handicap access. If somebody on a wheelchair is going to come out there with you, you might want to do that.
Yeah.
It's your choice, but just a thought.
Okay. That's a good idea. That's a thought.
Yeah. Okay. Any Mike, how do you think that we come to play in this process?
Also, I mean, the way that the application's been presented, it's, these things could be constructed in a lot of different ways, but it doesn't sound like there's really any proposed grading in that. It doesn't sound like there'd be any change to the elevation of the edge of the pond. He's not bringing in material to elevate the low point where it's affixed to the shore. And it doesn't sound like there's any excavation or any disturbance of the bottom of the pond other than these posts being driven in by the machine. So really, those however many there will end up being, that's the, that is the activity that makes this something that falls under your sort of jurisdiction. So, to the extent you have questions about how that process will unfold beyond what he's explained, the dock itself, will be out of the water. The materials, it doesn't, there's no structures. It doesn't sound like there's any electrical. So it would just be making sure that you're comfortable that, there would be precautions taken for, I assume it's a tracked machine, so it's not going to be, having issues with access. Again, they're drilled right into the ground, so there's no disturbance beyond those posts. So it would really just be the method of installation, I think, would be the piece that you'd be focused on.
Yeah, I can show you the website of these. I mean, this is the Technopost website, and this shows you what they look like, right? But there's a machine that
Neat. Yeah.
this big machine right here drives them into the ground, and it's a pretty small little machine.
And you can reach from the shore.
Yeah, it might have to drive into the pond just a little bit on these rocks.
Okay.
I'm going to lower the pond. I have a dam over here. I can lower it probably about 12 inches. I haven't tried it before. I just put a new 2x10 board in there about a year ago, but I haven't tried to lower it, but I think it'll lower about 12 inches. It's pretty high right now. So it'll probably lower a little bit. So I think the machine can drive. I have an access road back here, so it goes all the way around our whole house. It could drive right up the lawn without doing any damage to the lawn. Otherwise, I have another access point down at the bottom of the page here, and they could drive right across my lawn. I'd rather not have machines drive back and forth across the lawn if I can help it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's two easy access to bring the machine right there and put the post in. And Mike Johansson has a big machine that that can reach out 28 feet and put the pressure treated beams right on the posts.
Okay.
Otherwise, there'd be a couple of people in the water, I think, which is okay too.
Yeah. It's a nice spot.
Yeah, thanks. And it's about, right now, as full as it is, it's probably about 5.5 or 6 feet deep at the end of this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, once I lower it, it'll probably about, 5 to 5.25 feet deep. So I think anyone at the very edge of where I'm thinking of the dock is going to be able to be in there as well.
Okay.
And it's much shallower as you get closer.
Good. Okay. Any
But
other
I'm
questions?
just looking for your guys' approval so that I can pick one of these contractors and push the buy button.
Yeah.
I'd like to get it done in June. Nick can do it first week after the 4th of July. And Mike said he could probably do it in June, but I'm waiting to hear back, affirmatively from him.
Fine.
And then I'm going to pick one of those two contractors and push the buy button. I'm trying to get the decking as close as I can to the water, because if it, the water fluctuates quite a bit in the summer. Last year a whole lot, and I don't want to see. I want it to look really nice.
Yeah. Any comments from other commission members?
I don't have any issue with it. My experience with docks of all sorts is that this will be just fine and will not cause any problems for anyone.
And you probably noted that Patrick sent a note back to us that said that he had no difficulties at all. Okay.
That's fine.
That being the case, then I would entertain a motion to approve the application to construct a 16-foot by 24-foot dock at 74 Willington Hill Road. Application number IW-25-7. Anyone care to move that?
I can make that motion that we accept the application of IW 25-7 to build a 16 by 24 dock.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Great. Any further discussion? Okay, Mike, can you bring our pictures back up?
We're What are you looking for?
So that we can see ourselves vote.
Oh,
No, we can sit on the side, come to think of it. Fine. Thank you very much. All right, all those who approve the motion signify by raising your hand or saying aye.
All right.
There we go. Chris, you're all set.
All right. Thanks so much. I appreciate it,
Let's
guys.
work with Mike in terms of getting all the details
Thank
done.
you.
Okay,
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
sure enough. Good night. Okay, any old business? None that I know of.
I didn't see any.
Any correspondence?
no correspondence.
Okay. Mike, do you have any report for us?
The only thing that we did is I issued an agent decision. So there's a project that's been going on. It went to ZBA. It's headed to planning and zoning. It's a small addition to the garage, Mahaliak, the little service center that's right on the highway there. There's a pond on the adjacent property. And so the commission we don't have authority over offsite wetlands. So in this case, this person, the applicant there, he doesn't have the pond itself on his property, but when the right-of-way was taken for the highway, pond outlet was essentially piped. So he has like a 6-foot section of pipe where the pond leaves the neighbor's property, goes under his property, and then out into the state right-of-way. So you'll see, if you follow legal notices, if any of you have trouble sleeping, that I issued an agent decision because I felt like it made more sense to show that we had done the review than try to not. So we've referenced the offsite wetland. There's actually no disturbance of any wetland or anything on their property, but I felt like it was cleaner to just issue an agent decision. So you will see that in the newspaper. Other than that, we haven't had any other agent decisions or enforcement issues.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Um,
And so I will, if I guess, just make sure if any of you will have 2 applications for the June meeting and then the site walk. So if anybody is not going to be available, let me know as soon as possible so we can make sure we have a quorum. If not, I'll coordinate and we'll plan to do it just like we did last time, where we have the site walk, and we can get that all coordinated as we get a little bit closer.
okay, that sounds fine. Anything else from commission members?
Good until next time.
Good. You want to move to adjourn? Go for it.
I move to adjourn.
There you go. A second. No, let Mark.
I'll second it.
There you go. Thank you very much. All those who approve signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
There we go. Thank you. We are adjourned. See you next month.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan.